What if history's most infamous traitor wasn't who you think he was? This is the story of Judas Iscariot. Fact, legend, and everything in between. Judas Iscariot, one of the 12 apostles, and the name that became synonymous with betrayal. But who was he really? Judas was likely born in Kerioth, in southern Judea, making him the only non-Galilean among Jesus' closest followers. The name Iscariot most likely means man of Kerioth, though later traditions speculated wildly. From connections to dagger-carrying zealots, to symbolic meanings tied to darkness. In the Gospels, Judas begins as a trusted disciple. He handled the group's finances, suggesting Jesus placed confidence in him. But tension builds in the biblical narrative, most clearly in the Gospel of John, which describes Judas as dishonest with money and influenced by evil. The turning point comes in Jerusalem during Passover. According to the Gospels of Matthew, Mark, and Luke, Judas agrees to hand Jesus over to the authorities for 30 pieces of silver, a price that evokes ancient prophetic imagery. He leads the soldiers to Jesus in Gethsemane and identifies him with a kiss, the act that etches itself into history. But Judas' story doesn't end there. Matthew tells us Judas was overwhelmed with remorse, returning the silver and confessing, "I have betrayed innocent blood." He then dies by suicide in a field that becomes known as the Field of Blood. The Book of Acts preserves a different tradition. Judas falls headlong in that same field, dying violently. Early Christians debated which account reflected historical memory versus symbolic storytelling. Across the centuries, myths and legends grew. Medieval tales describe Judas as cursed from birth. Some early Christian groups, like the Gnostic text The Gospel of Judas, portrayed him not as a villain but as the one disciple who understood Jesus' true mission. In that telling, Jesus asks Judas to hand him over not out of malice, but obedience. Artists, theologians, and writers wrestled with Judas' motivations. Was it greed, disillusionment, a misunderstanding, a necessary step in divine destiny? Some Jewish historians point out that Judas' name was later wrongly used to justify anti-Semitism, something modern scholarship strongly rejects. In the end, Judas remains one of the most tragic and enigmatic figures of the New Testament, a man remembered for a moment that changed the course of history. Villain, tool of prophecy, or misunderstood disciple. The story of Judas Iscariot invites us to look deeper, beyond the easy label of traitor, and ask, what really happened in those final days?